Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Microsoft Flight Simulator, and today we're going to be going through quite a few things here. We're going to be talking about some mods, tools, and add-ons that have been updated and that are now clear for use with some Update 5. We're also going to be talking about some more troubleshooting steps that may help some of you with some of the issues that are happening. As these steps come up, as people are finding more and more solutions to some of the problems that are going on, I'll be sure to be updating you guys as quickly as possible. So sit tight guys, and hopefully you find some information that is valuable to you. Here we go. Now, as we get into this, guys, I do want to give you all the heads up on a few things. First off, the PDF tutorial guides. Thank you to all of my Patreon subscribers. You guys were absolutely fantastic this month. You cannot even possibly imagine what you did for myself and my family this month. And I just hope that that I live up to the cause and make it worth your money. I was blown away. YouTube subscribers, same to you guys. The channel took off this month and really made a lot of things possible with this whole, for those of you who don't know, we were forced into a situation where we have to buy a house. That was a really scary time, and you guys took a lot of that weight off. Like, I can't express my gratitude enough for myself and my family. We love you all, and we wish you all the absolute best, because what you did for us is phenomenal. Now, getting on to the guides themselves, I'm still holding off on the updates. There's just so many problems right now with so many of the aircraft, so many weird behaviors, so many things that still aren't working right. Right down to the A320 right now, the stable version is unplayable. Now Flybywire did a great job. I think it was an absolutely fantastic choice to remove the Flybywire A320 from the marketplace. Currently, if you are using the development version, everything seems to be fine, and I've been flying it and testing it as best I can. There have been a couple issues that I've ran into that impact the ability to use the guide right now. The TBM 930 at the moment is currently broken. However, I've been following Mixmugs very closely on his Discord, and he is working diligently to get the aircraft restored to what we were used to its performance being in the models. There were some very significant changes to the aircraft that really messed up his mod, and so it sounds like he's really having to build this thing from scratch up again. So as soon as I get an update on that, and as soon as we see a new release, I will definitely be letting you guys know, and we'll be restoring the TBM back to its old glory. With that being said, when the TBM 930 mod is released, I will be doing a test flight with it, verify all the numbers that are in the guide are still accurate and the performance is what we're expecting it to be. Once that is verified, I will publish a new update for it as well. Getting on to the Cessna Citation Longitude. Unfortunately, the Longitude mod that was used to adjust the flight model performance is also broken and no longer functional. So again, hopefully that's another one that gets updated soon, because at the moment all of the performance numbers, your takeoff speeds, landing speeds, etc., that are in the guide are currently inaccurate. You can't use them to accurately bring the aircraft in because the flight model is completely wrong. So not to say that the mod was perfect, but it definitely, from my understanding, was much closer to real-world specifications. So with that being said, some of the things that are coming, we are going to be doing a full flight video with the Salty 4.0 747 modification. It has been released, brings a ton of new functionality to the FMC, so we're going to be checking that out. Everything from your different nav points to now direct to is now applicable, as well as even waypoint holdings. So we're going to be checking a lot of things out with the 747, possibly using it as the reference for our next guide. As far as a guide that is currently in progress, I have actually begun work on it, is the Baron G58. I'm going to try to see if I can't get two guides rolling at the same time. The Baron's not going to require as much, so therefore, I'm not too concerned with being able to get it out before the end of the month, even with the move coming. Now, with us moving coming, we do have to move locations by the 31st of August in 2021. So with that in mind, some of the content may be a little bit more spread out, maybe a little bit more random. I may be a little bit slower to respond to you guys. Please understand, with the situation, and that it's not me ignoring you. It's just, it's going to take a minute to get around to you guys. As some of you know, if you email me direct and ask if you can do a PayPal donation for a guide, I am still offering that on occasion. But if you do go that route, again, understand it may take me a couple of days before I get back to you. But it's not that I'm hoarding your money or anything like that. It's just going to take me a minute. We have a ton going on. For those of you who have ever purchased a house, you guys know how it goes, and we're doing it all in a rush. So anyway, with all of that craziness set aside, now let's get into some of the troubleshooting steps that hopefully might help some of you guys get your sim back into an operational standpoint. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to be talking about that some of you guys have said is resolving some of these issues here, primarily the issues in regard to flight plans not loading correctly, inability to load IFR or VFR flight plans. Some people have reported the same issue, solving the problem where you hit fly, the load bar completes, but then you just sit there and nothing ever happens. Okay, so what we're going to do, and this unfortunately is going to only pertain to Navigraph subscribers. So if you are a Navigraph subscriber, this may help you out. If you're not, unfortunately, there's no way for this to help you, because you have to be subscriber in order to access this particular utility. But you're going to download the charts in-game panel here. We're going to come down and find, actually we're not looking for the charts panel, we're looking for the data center, so give me a second here. See if I can find what I'm looking for. I think I might have clicked on the wrong page here, hang on. Oh, there it is, Navigraph Data Center. Oh, maybe not. This is really... Okay, come on guys. Your installer should not be that hard to find. There we go. So we want Navigraph Data Center for Windows. Hang on a second, FMS Data Manager. I think we want Nav Data Center for Windows. It's really ridiculous that it took that long to find that. Alright, so we're just going to install it. I'm going to change the location here. Oops. Where are you? Why am I not seeing the folder that I'm looking for? Oh, hey, there's already one here. So we'll just throw it in there. Okay, then we're going to run the data center, however you want to call it. You got to walk through the sign-in process, obviously with your Navigraph credentials. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to close the browser back here. And so what we're going to be looking at, I don't care about the Navigraph charts panel. I don't like the way it works. I prefer to use the third-party integration. So, but what we're looking for is the AirX Cycle 2107 Revision 3. So we're going to install that, and what this is all your updated airways and routes, right? This is our nav data, the FMS data that we enter in. So again, I can't stress enough, this is one of those issues that unfortunately I was not personally impacted by, but there have been enough people reporting that this solved their issue that I wanted to share that with you guys. So if you are a Navigraph subscriber, and if you are someone who either A, cannot load IFR or VFR flight plans via the world map, or B, you load a flight plan and you hit the fly button and it just hits the loading screen and just sits there, this could be your issue. Now, even if you don't load a flight plan and you hit the fly button and it loads and then you just sit there, I would still try this, again, assuming that you are a Navigraph subscriber. Okay, so let's go ahead and move forward. The next one that is coming up a lot that I'm seeing is the A320 is not working. The A320 is not working. There's no way to fly the A320. They pulled it from the marketplace, blah, blah, blah. Yes, they did pull it from the marketplace. And the reason why they pulled it is because the stable version, as you're seeing here, version 6.1, as of the latest hotfix, is finally just broken. It's in shambles. And I think Flybywire did a very smart thing and by removing it from the marketplace. However, what they have told us that we can do and should do, and this is what I have done, use their manual installer. You can find it on their website. I think it's just flybywire.com now. grab the installer and install the development version. I haven't had any issues with the development version since launching the sim. Well, take that back. In my previous video when we did the hotfix, I loaded in the A320. As soon as I went to the A320, the sim crashed. I came up here, launched this application. There was an update. I updated it. Ever since updating it, it's been working fine. Now, this is one of those ones where I always open this app. I only use this app. I do not install the marketplace version. I like having the latest and greatest. And development, I can tell you guys, you guys, for anyone who's been watching my channel for any extended period of time, I have the A320 PDF guide that was built around Flybywire's revisions to the A320. I have been flying this aircraft since darn near the start of Microsoft Flight Simulator, and I have never had a development version crash on me. So I highly recommend the development version. I've never had any game-breaking issues with the development version of the Flybywire A320. So I recommend that regardless. And then you get to use all the neat features, for example, like the auto land and things like that. Anyway, and then actually there's a new EFB now too. So anyway, make sure that you use the installer here. Use the development version. As long as you're on the development version, you should be fine to use the Flybywire A320. Okay, but yes, the marketplace version is currently down. The stable version is not recommended as it is having severe issues. So let's keep on going. The next one that keeps coming up quite a bit still is people are still having some confusion on to what I mean by delete the community folder. I do not mean come in here and delete the contents. I mean literally right click on this folder and delete it. Now, if there are contents in there that you don't want to lose, that you're hoping, maybe you can bring over, once things are fixed, then you can just also rename it. If you come here, right click, go to rename, and you can type in here whatever you want. As long as it does not say the word community as you see it here, it can say community1, it can say community.old, it can say anything you want it to say, as long as it does not look the way it looks right now. And then what that will do is with the next time you launch the simulator, it should generate a brand new community folder. Now, this is not a 100% catch-all by any darn means, unfortunately. I wish it was that simple. But again, these are things that for some people, they have reported this resolving some of their issues. So again, let's move on and see what we can come up with next. Okay, one of the next questions I have is, I actually get asked this quite a bit. A lot of people ask me, how I keep up with the mods and add-ons, and how do I know when there's updates? Am I alerted automatically? So this is sort of a 2 or 3, possibly 3-prong answer here. But the first one is, honestly, I know how much you guys like them, and obviously there's a benefit to me when you guys watch the videos, and there's a benefit to you. And I get a lot of really great feedback when the mods and add-ons and tools, tutorial, or videos come out. So I'm in FlightSim.2 is probably the best resource. There are a couple other web pages that have some every now and then that I'll find a jam on. But for the most part, FlightSim.2 is the best website for Microsoft Flight Simulator add-ons, mods, tools, liveries, applications, you name it. And what makes their product very nice as well is that you can, as long as you subscribe, and there's no charge, it's free subscription, you just need to register to their website. But as long as you register, you can come here to the My Downloads is what I use. Okay, now there is also the Mod Manager. I just come to the My Downloads. And this is everything that I've downloaded recently. And you can see right here, 1.2 is now version 1.3. Anything with this red arrow lets me know that there's a new version of that particular mod out. Now, I don't use very many of these at all anymore. For the most part, I would say 90% of these are probably no longer used. But there are things that I have shown on the channel or taken an interest in at some time. So there's a couple of different methods that I use. Again, so I search through the home page and just sort of cycle through and just do some web surfing and see if there's anything I like. And then I come through here as well and see if there's anything that's been updated that catches my attention, that is something that, for example, is more critical. Like, let's see if we can find something here. Like, for example, here, this Project Life Bahamas Mega Pack. I've really been enjoying this. And we can just come here and download the latest version. And it opens a new browser, which is nice. And it's because it just makes it easy to sweep back. And then I'm watching for these things. Compatibility with Sim Update 5 has been confirmed. So boom, then I'll drop it. Let that download, and then I can come back over here and continue hunting. So that's probably the best way that I have found to do so. I highly recommend registering. If you're using FlightSim.2 to download any of these mods, liveries, etc., just register the website. It's absolutely worth the time. And again, it's free. I don't get any crap mail. I don't get any junk mail. I don't get any spam or anything like that. It's just a login. I imagine it's just to store what mods I'm actually downloading and using. And then the same thing with, you know, as far as doing my manual searches, I like to come here to the home page. I will admit it's been running a little slow today. I always hit the view more button. Makes things a bit easier. Just gets you a cleaner page, and that way when you back up a page, you always come back to where you left off. Where if you stay on the home page and just sort of cycle through the bottom numbers on the numbers on the bottom, every time you bounce back, you'll go back to the main page, and so you have to remember what page you're on. But I do this with the recent uploads, and then I'll come up to most recently updated. I'll click on that as well. And so these are mods that have been pre-existent that are just being updated, and then up here you're going to have the newest releases, right? So anyway, that's how I manage the mods. So if you're interested in taking on that that weight there for yourself, by all means, those are the recommendations I have as far as staying up to date. The easiest is what I have found. All right, let's go ahead and move on. Okay, now that we have some of that out of the way, let's go ahead and take a look back into our TBM. One of the issues that has come up with the TBM since the latest release was the inability to, been a while, to move the throttle properly. So if I hold left click and I can move it into the high feather position, but I can't bring it to the left. And I showed you guys a way to do that in a previous video using an axis assignment. However, very good point was brought across. What if you only have one axis? That's a very fair point, and I didn't even think about that. So did some digging, and luckily stumbled over today someone who was asking the exact same question. So what we're going to do is we're going to left click and hold, and then tap the right click. Okay, so again, if you so we're going to left click and hold it, and then give the right click a tap while holding left, and it will move it back and forth. Okay, so that's another option to get it from one gate to the other and then back down to your cutoff position. I know that was something that was sort of driving some people nuts. And understand, folks, it's not that the TBM is unflyable. It's still a fun plane to fly. It's just the speed calculations are wrong. The takeoff speeds are incorrect. And then, of course, all those really amazing fun features that I enjoy that Mixed Mugs put into this, the doors opening, things like that, unfortunately, are not functional at the moment. But this is a cockpit livery. People asking about this livery all the time. Some people hate it, some people love it. There is a link to it down in the description below if you guys are curious on where to get this one. It's one of my favorites. I love this one. Anyway, so that's all I've got for you guys in regard to the TBM. So let's go ahead and move on to something a little bit different. All right, so the next thing we're going to be looking at is the Rex airport textures. So they have finally been updated to operate with Sim Update 5. And actually, I don't want to say finally. I think it's been a couple of days now. I've just been very hesitant, obviously, with everything going on to install anything. Now, what you're looking at here, this is the default scenery. Okay, we're over here at KTUS at Tucson International here in Arizona, my hometown. Now, one thing I also did want to point out that I actually was kind of impressed with this last update that I didn't catch until recently was that all the airport textures, so like Tucson International specifically was one of those ones where you'd have the gray ramping like you'd see here, and then like you'd have these weird, you know, changes in colors. Like one would be light gray and it'd be like light gray from here all the way to back here, and then the dark gray over here. Like it looked really crappy. So it is nice to see that that's been resolved. But now let's go ahead and take a look at what it looks like with the Rex textures installed. So for those of you who have never seen the installation process, it's actually very, very simple. So basically you download it. After you purchase it, you get the executable. You go through the registration process, and then you just select your version. Obviously I'm using the store edition. Okay, and then we're going to go to next. And then you can pick what kind of markings you want. And what they have are the new and then used. So do you want your markings to look more like a weathered airport, or do you want them to look real nice, clean, and crisp? I tend to go more for the used look to it. I don't necessarily like everything looking brand spanking new, but then now the cool part about this is you can sort of bounce back and forth. So like, you know, if you simulate, you know, your airport just got repainted, I mean, it does happen, right? And then on the runway, you know, how much usage do you want it to look like there? It's your rubber buildup, right? Do you want it to look like a really heavy, beaten down runway like you're going to see somewhere like LAX or O'Hare or JFK, one of the really, you know, active runways, or like Tucson? Probably not going to be as much, but I'm going to keep it as heavy just because actually Tucson's only got the one big runway. 29 right and 11 right aren't really, or 29 left and 11 right aren't used as frequently. But I mean, still enough where, you know, it's definitely a dirty runway. And so, you know, you pick, you know, your textures are ready to install. You hit install. And this does drop directly into the community folder. Now I'm going to show you guys a workaround to that if you want to continue to use like your add-ons linker or whatnot to get them in and out. So we'll go through that in just a second here, as long as that hasn't changed. Knock on wood, right? All right, installation complete. Boom, we hit exit. Now what I can do is we're going to go to our packages folder, and we're going to go into our community, and we should be able to see the Rex airport textures. There should be a directory for them. Did I pass it? And it looks like I have just completely lied to you guys. No, that's a drag. Oh, here, we go to the next step. That's what. Let's do an uninstall first. That's significantly easier than dealing with that. All right, so unfortunately it makes us exit. So now I'm going to go back to the applications. I'm going to launch it again, and this time we'll do it the correct way. Do Rex airport textures, launching the executable, bringing the executable over here. Okay, so we want custom folder location. That's what I meant to hit. And so from here we can actually do, like I said, if you want to, you can do your mods directory, for example. So here, applications, there we go. If we wanted to do scenery, for example, and I can do global. And this just helps you keep everything in one location. Now, what I'm actually going to do here, because Rex has this horrible habit of not creating its install directories. So I'm going to put Rex textures here, not res. And I'm going to tell it to use this folder because, yeah, more than one occasion, like Rex weather, make sure you always make a folder for it. All right, and then now we'll keep that as it was and continue onward. All right, so now we hit exit. And then from here, we can use our add-ons linker now to actually install the mod. And this is very convenient when you're wanting to bounce back and forth. So from here, we can now go to, again, our scenery, and we had it in global. There's so much of this scenery, as you can tell, that I haven't tested yet. And looks like there it is right there. So that's the one that we want, okay? I'll be testing this one out. This is another really cool scenery package, but I haven't verified if it's working or not yet. So let's go ahead, and that's installed now. So let's launch our simulator. Okay, so just a heads up, that did take a little bit longer than what it has been to load. And again, some of that's going to be expected. The more you have in your community folder, guys, the load time is going to increase. There's nothing anybody can expect otherwise from that. The more the sim has to load and change that's in the community folder, the longer it's going to take. So just be expecting that, and I wouldn't get upset about something like that. It's to be expected. Got to remember, all these community add-ons, they are still altering the default game. So just, you know, be realistic with that. All right, let's go ahead and load in. All right, and see, that was still a very nice load time. That was perfect. All right, so now let's see what we got. Oops, wrong way. Got a little bit of stuttering going on. Let's see if that cleans up as the scenery loads. But as you can see, the texturing on the runways look quite a bit better. The taxi lines look more realistic. Look like wear and tear, but yet not too ridiculous. but it definitely looks like some aircrafts going on. I would say this is one of the better products that Rex has put out. It does get asked quite a bit, by the way, guys. I no longer use Rex Weather Force. It has outlived its usefulness, in my opinion. I sort of had to get on board with everybody else with the last few updates to the weather system. Anyway, so I really like the new Rex airport textures, though. I think they look very, very nice, and it adds quite a bit to it, especially in VR. In the VR, that actually works pretty well. Now, I have noticed in VR there is a pretty... It's inconsistent, but there is a change in frame rate. And sometimes good, sometimes bad. I can't put my finger on what's causing it. But you can see at the terminals, okay, you get the wear and the oil spots and things like that, indicating, you know, where aircraft have been. I do enjoy that. I like that a lot. Some of it is a little too extreme, but I understand what they're trying to do. I mean, again, they're limited, right? You know, it's a randomization thing is what it is. Yeah. So let me know what you guys think of this one down in the comments below. It is working. I have flown with it. I just wanted to show you guys the whole process from start to finish. So anyway, let's go ahead and move on to our next add-on. So the next one I want to show you guys that is up and running and working very nicely. Now, it is, again, a bit of a frame rate killer, but I wouldn't say killer. This is from the external view. So the only reason why I don't have the FPS up is because A, we're in the TBM. I sort of wasn't thinking about that. And B, it's gonna, you know, mileage is always gonna vary. But this is London Gatwick. This is a incredible modification to the scenery of Gatwick Airport that is probably one of the best I've seen in the simulator yet. I wish we could get a lot more airports with the fidelity that these guys have done with Gatwick. Gatwick is, like I said, probably the best third-party scenery for an airport that I've seen. Now, I haven't seen them all, so please keep it in mind. There's hundreds, I'm sure, that I haven't seen. I've been so focused on add-ons, liveries, and things like that, or even not even liveries, but add-ons, mods, tools, etc. I don't really check out the scenery as often as I should. But this was one of the sceneries that when Sim Update 5 first came out broke for me. It actually caused the sim to crash. It is up and running and looking absolutely beautiful now. I have been on this scenery with the A320, checking out the frame rate. And like I said, it has certain points where it starts to, you know, you start getting a little stutter here and there, you know, but, and I'm positive it's the airport because when I take the scenery out, it goes away. It's smooth as glass. So, and this is really, really highly detailed. I know I'm not showing you guys the beforehand. Again, to be blunt, wasn't thinking about it. But as you guys can see, I mean, look at it from everything from the buildings to the taxi lines to the parking lamps to the cargo structures and things like that that are all around the airfield, really bringing a lot of life. Unfortunately, I wish I knew why any of the multiplayer AI traffic wasn't showing up, but clearly that's an issue because it's all turned on for my sim. None of it just seems to be appearing. But a very, very gorgeous scenery that I highly recommend, and I don't even fly in Europe very often, and I'm making sure this one hits the video. Highly recommend it. It's absolutely gorgeously done, and there's a ton of effort that was clearly put into this scenery. So make sure you guys check it out. Link down in the description. Okay, and the last thing I want to show you guys for today's video is Sky Dolly. This software took me by storm. The developer initially first reached out to me and asked if I would mind taking a peek at it. And the more he has developed this thing, the better it gets. The whole UI looks significantly different than the previous version I used. And for those of you who don't know what Sky Dolly is, it's a recording software, but it does much, much more. You are able to, so as you can see here, we've got a logbook, lets you break it down by the date and month and time that you flew, etc. Really makes that handy if there's particular reasons why you're tracking that information. You have your different replay speed variables that are very, very nice. You have a custom that's very, very nice. It has the ability to do, you can now do search based on the aircraft, the title, departure, or arrival. Different engine types you can filter by, duration of the recording that you can filter by, and you can include formation flying. Now, I haven't tested out this formation feature. I was just getting ready to do that when Sim Update 5 dropped. My understanding is you basically can record a flight then go back and play it again and use that recording to generate a formation flight. Essentially, you can fly next to it. And we're going to test that out over this week. I think we're going to try to do something like that maybe with like the mock loop. That might be kind of fun in the F-22 or something like that. So anyway, has a ton of functionality, and it is 100% completely free. I mean, and I have not heard that he plans on making it a payware, but I would definitely be donating to this one. It's a very, very, very well done software, and it's the first one that I've seen that is really effectively actually showing engine start and stop states as well during the recording. If you, for example, do your engine shutdown, but you go back to a previous part of the recording where the engine was running, the engine actually fires up and is running during the recording. So, and I know that sounds silly, but that's a big deal. And then, of course, you have your ability to, minimize things and whatnot. It's very nicely done. It's a very well laid out piece of software. He updates it very regularly, so he's clearly, diving into it and getting the work done at it. There's a bunch of features on here that I haven't even had a chance to check out yet. So just keep that in mind. That again, it's free. So if you guys can kick him something, I totally would, because this software already does more than a lot of the paywares don't. I will say that. So to the developer, once again, fantastic work. Keep up the great work. And let me know, guys, if you have any more questions, comments. As always, leave them down in the description below or in the comment field below. I am continuing to siphon through your comments as I have time, and try to get some of your questions answered as I get to them. Just be patient. I do try to look through as many as I can, but amazingly, there's almost 16,500 of you guys now, which just blows me away to even say that. But trust that I am looking. I am trying to get to each of you one at a time. So anyway, guys, I hope you guys have a fantastic week, and I will see you guys in the next one. Be on the lookout for some random pop-up streams that will be happening this week, and I will talk to you guys very soon. Bye-bye.